Hello, I'm Gemma and this is Non-Fic Books, and I have a fiction roundup or sort of discussion today. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who entered my competition for celebrating Pride and Prejudice, and the winner is Karen from Karen Reads. I have sent you a message, so please just send me your address and I will get that popped out into the post for you. You might be able to tell that my bookshelf is starting to, or well, at least my fiction bookshelf is starting to be taken over by books that don't quite belong to me. So I am having a little bit of a fiction binge at the moment because I need to read as many books as possible to start clearing more space so that at least Little Un can have this entire shelf. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about the fiction books that I am reading at the moment, the ones that I have just read, and then some of the ones that are coming up for me. Because weirdly, I'm normally a book monogamist, and at the moment I have lots of books on the go, and I'm trying to sort of finish that because it's not the way I read best. So starting off with some of the books that I have recently read, this is Three Men in a Boat by Jerome. This is a large number of times reread for me. My husband originally bought me the audiobook of this 8-9 years ago, something like that. And so I have very sort of fond memories of a strong attachment to this book. And so a while ago I treated myself to this folio edition of it. And it has gorgeous illustrations, and if you are at all scared of classics, this is a fantastic one to start off with because it is absolutely hilarious. It is about three young men in a boat with a dog and their adventures that they get up to, and I think it is absolutely hilarious. It is a very English style of humour, so everyone may not like it, but I think it's absolutely fabulous. Next up, I read The Castle of Otranto by Walpole. This came up in my Jane Austen season, and so I thought I'd give it a go because it's one of those, again, a folio edition, and it's one of those sort of gothic stories that Jane Austen would have been aware of. It was fun, it was silly, it was exactly what I expected it to be, and I didn't feel very well when I read it, so it was a nice little light read to go along with that. The next book that I read that I really enjoyed, I don't have a physical copy because I read it on my phone, and that is D.G. Rampton's Artemisia. If you like Georgette or Regency romance in any form, go and read this book. I believe it's her debut novel and it's absolutely fantastic. Also, go and follow her on Instagram for the love of Jane Austen. And she doesn't know I'm saying any of this. This is not because I know her or I think anything, but I just think I really enjoyed her first book and I'm looking forward to her next one. It's a really fun Regency romance about Artemisia and her first season that she's being brought out in with her chaperone and her chaperone's obviously a rather handsome brother called Lord Chisholm, and I thought it was great. I really liked the romance, I liked the sort of fun sort of mystery element to it, which there's a little hint of, and I just thought it was a really nice book, so I definitely recommend reading that. And then lastly, with books that I have actually read recently, Millie Johnson's The Yorkshire Pudding Club. This, I believe, was Millie Johnson's debut novel, and it is about three friends in Barnsley who get pregnant around the same time in their late 30s. And the different way this, whether it's intentional, whether they've been trying for a while, whether it wasn't intentional, and the consequences in their life. I really like Millie Johnson. I think if you haven't read her and you like chick lit, she is a fantastic author. Typical chick lit in the fact that everything ends well, which occasionally annoys me, but I think she's fabulous. I've met her before and I think she's a really nice woman, and I think her writing is great for this style of book. And this was a fantastic debut. And while my absolute favourites are her sort of season books, so there's the Spring Clean and the Autumn Affair and things like that, they're absolutely fantastic. Go and read those, especially the spring one, because it is about decluttering, which I think is that's a big passion of mine. Sounds a bit wrong, but I like doing it and I think it's great to do. But anyway, The Yorkshire Pudding Club, I'm really glad I read it. I had bought this meaning to read it while I was pregnant, and just didn't get around to it, and I definitely will keep that because it's one I will reread again in the future. And I have 3 quite different books that I am currently reading. The first one is Iris and Ruby by Rosie Thomas. This is set in India, and Iris and Ruby are a grandmother and a granddaughter. The granddaughter is in her late teens, I believe, and the grandmother is in her 70s or 80s. Grandmother has lived in India for a long time. The granddaughter runs away from home, doesn't know where to go, and decides to go and visit her grandmother, who she has not seen in a long time. She's going through a very difficult time. She's sort of typically a very angsty teenager and everything, and it's about their relationship and Ruby beginning to find a little bit more about her life and how she is going to move forwards from some of the things that have happened. The next one is Evelyn Waugh's A Handful of Dust. I love Evelyn Waugh. If I had to say one of my favourite, if he might even be my actual favourite author, and Brideshead at the moment is still my favourite book. And I don't know the plot line of this really because I'm only a couple of chapters in, and once I've decided to read a book I never look at a synopsis because it too often spoils it. But I love his writing already. It's humorous and I'm enjoying the sort of social commentary, so I look forward to finishing that. And then I really like Kathleen Tessaro. I've read quite a few of her books, and The Flirt is the next one on my list to read. And so far, again, I'm only a few chapters in and I'm enjoying it. I really enjoy her writing style, and it seems to be about a male escort or equivalent. So I look forward to getting my teeth stuck into that because her writing is really beautiful. And some of the books on my to-read pile. The first is a trilogy. The third book should be delivered yesterday, it should have been delivered yesterday, so it should hopefully be here today or tomorrow. And this is Elizabeth Chadwick's series on Eleanor of Aquitaine. The first one is The Summer Queen, the next one is The Winter Crown, and then it is The Autumn Throne to finish off. Elizabeth Chadwick is one of my favourite historical fiction writer. I adore her writing, I love all of her books, and I purposefully waited until the third book was out so that I could read all 3 of them in one go. So as soon as that third one gets to me, I will be having a big session read because I love Elizabeth Chadwick's writing and I'm obsessed with Eleanor of Aquitaine, who would probably have scared the bejesus out of me if I'd have met her in real life, but is definitely one of my historical heroines, so I look forward to reading those. And finally, Regency book by Georgette. I have dipped in and out of Georgette, but I thought I wanted to start at the beginning and work my way through her Regency romances, and so Regency book is my first one to pick up in this sort of batch of reading them. So that's sort of where I am with fiction at the moment. If you've read any of these and you've got any comments, please leave them down below, and if you have any book recommendations again, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear what you think. And I will see you in a video soon, hopefully about a non-fiction book or two. Bye!